I grew up in a non-practicing Catholic household, but those aren't the first words I would use to describe my house growing up. My childhood was full of small hills and deep valleys. By the time I was 11, I had been to court for custody battles more times than I can count. I lost 2 of my siblings. My best friend was at the start of her 2-year journey in the hospital after a suicide attempt, and my mother got very sick, and no one could figure out what was wrong. But around all this darkness, there was a light, my stepfather. And then he got sick. I was so angry, completely destroyed, and I blamed God. I was an ignorant kid in a non-practicing home, but what I thought I knew was God was in control. God must have done this to me. How could he make my life so hard? But I didn't understand that God gives everyone free will, that the people in my life were not following him or living by his word. I didn't understand what God was capable of. So instead, I closed every door, locked it, and threw away the key. When I was 12, my stepfather was diagnosed. When I was 16, we had nurses in the house every day attending to him. I'd come home from school, relieve the nurses, and take my shift until my mother came home. When I was 18, we moved him into the nursing home for 24/7 care. And when I was 19, he forgot who I was. One day that same year, we were on our way to visit him at the nursing home, the place where I had to watch my mama remind him who I was, where I watched him pretend to recognize me. After we parked, I asked my mama to wait, and I completely broke down, and I prayed. For the first time, I spoke to God out of need rather than anger, desperation rather than frustration. And I said, God, I know I haven't followed you. I haven't studied your word. I'm ignorant as to who you are and what you can do, but if you love me like I am told you do, please help a broken girl lose the man she calls her father. Hold my hand and give me a miracle. We went inside, and before my mama could even say a word, my stepfather looked up to me and he said, Kathleen, you're here. It took all of me not to fall to my knees and cry. He passed a year later, living in a nursing home during the peak of COVID. 8 months of being unable to touch him, hug him, really spend time with him at all. But what got me through was my relationship that I developed with the Lord after that day. After he performed his miracle, there was no denying what happened. I knew I needed him. I knew that I could put all of my trust in Jesus. I just had to learn more. So I went to church, I started reading the Bible. I learned of God's love, grace, healing, and salvation. I learned I could not save myself, for by faith we are saved. I put my faith in Jesus Christ because he and he alone can save me. After meeting my husband, we moved to Phoenixville and wanted to find a church together, and we found Valley Forge Baptist. And since I have come here, I have been welcomed, loved, and prayed for. My husband and I have made friends and met like-minded people who continue to lead me to the Lord, and for that, I will be forever grateful. Thank you.
Let's thank God for her testimony today. You did it.